you are someone who wants to pursue masters in France and want to know how you can stay back in the country and live and work in France, this video is for you. So guys, I know that there are a lot of questions about APS, talent passport and everything about visa when it comes to living in France after your graduation. So just to give you guys an idea, if you're anybody who has pursued any kind of masters in France, you can definitely stay back in the country without a problem. For all international students, France allows you to stay in the country for at least a period of 1 year without any problem, even if you don't have a job. And especially for Indian students, you can definitely stay for a 2-year period because of the amazing ties between the Indian government and the French government. Now, before I start throwing information at you, let me try to divide this video into 2 categories. First situation is that, let's say you have graduated but you do not have a dream job yet, but you still want to you've still decided to stay back in France. And the second situation is that you're about to graduate but you already have a job and you know that you want to live and work in France. So for both these situations, you are definitely going to be able to stay in France, but the visa status might be slightly different. So without further ado, let's get started. So the first scenario that I mentioned was that you are about to graduate from a French university after your master's, but you do not have a job yet. In this case, like I said, you can definitely stay for a period of minimum of 1 year and for 2 years for Indian students. How does this visa work? This visa is called APS. It's basically loosely translated into a temporary visa in the country. It can also be imagined as to a job search visa of sorts, where you can stay in the country, work part-time and look for the job that you're seeking. During this period, you cannot work for more than 20 hours per week. And when it comes to a job, the moment you do find a job, you need to go back and change your status again. So now that I've shared with you how this visa even looks like, I'm pretty sure that you want to know how you can apply for this visa. So when you do want to apply for the APS, you need to ensure that you make the application within the 3-month period of the expiry of your student visa. So let's say your student visa expires in August. So you need to start applying for the APS anywhere from June, July or even May to make the process more smoother for you. You can definitely reach out to your university to seek more information on the subject. They will definitely help you with all the documents you require, what you need to do, but the application will always be made to the prefecture of the area that you come from, and then you can make that application without a problem. But do not worry, your schools will always help you to make that application. Now let's jump on to the second scenario, right? Let's say you're in your APS at the moment, but you do find a job for yourself. Now the jobs that you do find for yourself will again be either a permanent job that has a defined time period in which you will be working with them, or else it will be a permanent job with no defined timeline. It's indefinite period that you will be working with them. The first one, which has a time period fixed from the start, is called CDD, and the job which allows you to work with the company for an indefinite period is called CDI. Now, of course, as you can imagine, everybody in France wants to get a CDI because that just means that your job is secure for the entire period that you will be working with them, and it's very hard for French companies to actually fire you. So CDI is what every international student is looking for. So let's say you're on your APS, you are looking for a job and you do get a CDD or a CDI. So in both these cases, since you have found a permanent job for yourself, you need to go back to the prefecture and inform them that you have found a job and you would like to change your status from APS to a salaried person status. Now it is very similar to APS, but then your status will change, which will change a few things for you, which you don't really have to worry a lot about. So the moment you change your status from APS to the salaried employee, your French employer resident permit gets activated, and this is again activated for a period of 1 year if you are a CDD, which is the temporary sort of defined period permanent contractee in France. But if you do find a CDI for yourself, which is for an indefinite period, the moment you complete your probation period with the company, you can apply for the same visa which you will get for a longer period of time. Sometimes you do get it for 1 year and you keep renewing it every year without any problem, but then after a period of spending 5 years in the country, you can directly apply for a longer term visa, which totally depends on which sector you work in, and many other details. But then after spending 5 years in the country, you can directly start applying for the 10-year visa that can basically stop you from applying from renewing your visa every year, which is pretty easy to do and not very hard to actually get. Now, this was basically how things would look like if you did not have a job when you graduated. Now let's hop on to the scenario 2, when you already have a job before you graduated. In this case, you do not need to go through the APS route, and you can directly apply for a talent passport in France, which is also designed specifically for innovative individuals, for salaried individuals who are basically going to work in France and make a certain amount of money for themselves and stay for a longer period of time. The talent passport allows you to live in the country for up to 4 years directly, and you can also renew this after your 4-year period for a longer term visa without any problem. So for the talent passport, what you need to know is that you will definitely need a job contract, which is the additional document that you will be needing for making this application. Unlike the APS, you will of course be requiring your passport, birth certificate, and all that kind of usual stuff that French government wants from you to apply for these visas. But of course, you need to remember that you have to maintain a minimum number of salary that you make in terms of your base salary to be able to be eligible for talent passport. So yeah, I mean, these are the two options that people usually go for. Of course, if you have any other situation, I know a lot of my friends who are married here, who have family in France and stuff like that, which might not be relevant for all of us. But then if you do, they directly go for a 10-year visa, and even that doesn't seem to be that difficult. But of course, that is a rare scenario, so I'm not going to be elaborating on it because I don't even know how it exactly works. But definitely what you need to know is that once you do find the right opportunity for yourself, you're definitely going to be able to get the talent passport. And once you do decide to live in France for a longer period of time and apply for the 10-year visa, you need to remember that you will be required to take medical tests also, as well as some tests on the level of your French. But all this is for really later parts of your career, not in the beginning. So you can stay assured that once you do graduate, whether you speak French or not, you can definitely stay back in the country for at least 2 years without even having a job. And the moment you do find a job, you can stay back for at least 4 years again without any problem. So I will try to leave links down below in the description for you to look at in detail which exact situation are you in, because you might be a student in France currently and you want to know which one is more apt for you. So definitely reach out to your international cell of your university. But if you're someone who has not yet applied, who just wants to evaluate their options, I think this video can make it very clear to you that you can definitely stay back in France and you don't have to worry about the post-study visa. So I hope this was helpful, and I'm very happy to make this video today, and I would really recommend that you guys subscribe to the channel, like this video, share it with whoever you know who wants to eventually study in France or move to France or anything of that sort. It would be really helpful to build that community with you guys. So yeah, that's it for today. I hope you have a great day and see you guys around. Bye bye.